The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 1, Tragic Time Travel. Chapter 1 Tragic Time Travel. You can tell me and your father if you disagreed with this marriage at the beginning, but now you are about to get married in 3 days and run into the river. Are you trying to force me and your father to death? I always tell your father that you are the most obedient and filial among our 5 children, but I didn't expect you to be the least worrying one. Do you know that people in the village now scold me for selling my daughter to your father, but my father and I have worked hard to raise you, and this is how you repay us. Tian Xiao had a splitting headache, but when he opened his eyes, his vision was blurred. And the people next to her were still talking endlessly, making her ears buzzing too. She is not a good-tempered person, and scolded, "Shut up." The room was so quiet that you could hear a needle drop on the ground for a moment. Li Hohat was furious, and shouted, "Tian Dia, you have the guts of a bear, how dare you talk to me like that?" Tian Xiao held his head that was about to explode, and shouted sharply, "Are you deaf? I'll let you get out. If you don't get out again, don't blame me for being rude. If she doesn't go out again, she will call the police. I don't know what's going on with this hotel. As far as the service level is concerned, it has the face to say it is a 5-star hotel." Tian Dalan stood at the door, and walked in quickly when he heard the mother and daughter arguing. Coincidentally seeing Li Hohat raising his hand to hit Tian Xiao, he rushed up and grabbed Li Hohat's hand. "Let's go out first." Li Hohat was so angry that she lost her mind and shouted angrily, "She told me to get out, how dare she tell me to get out? I must beat her to death today." Tian Dalan dragged her out of the house. Tian Xiao leaned against the cold wall with his head covered and his eyes closed. It took a while for his head to stop hurting. When he opened his eyes again and saw the scene in front of him, he was stunned. Long gray and black beams, narrow wooden windows, colorful adobe walls, bumpy earth floors, dilapidated wardrobes, uneven wooden tables and broken wooden doors. Where is this? The 5 guarantee households in my hometown live in better houses than this one. At this moment, a little girl with a disheveled face and patched clothes came in. Walking to the bed, she asked with concern, "Sister, are you feeling unwell?" Tian Xiao looked at the little girl, a memory that didn't belong to her flooded into her mind, and she couldn't help covering her head again. Sonia hurriedly said, "Sister, do you have a headache?" "Sister, I'll ask my parents to take you to the health center." After finishing speaking, he walked out quickly. After receiving the memory, Tian Xiao suddenly felt that there was nothing else to love. Didn't she go back to the house to rest because of the altitude sickness? Why did she die? Also in fashion. Just wear it. Why did you wear it to this era of lack of food and clothing, and became the eldest daughter of Tian Dalan, one of the poorest families in the Red Flag Society? Hearing that Tian Xiao's head was uncomfortable, Li Hohat couldn't care less about getting angry, and Tian Dalan hurried over. When the husband and wife walked into the room, they saw Tian Xiao staring straight at the beam, and their hearts skipped a beat. Tian Dalan said in a hoarse voice, "Big girl, if you don't want to marry, then don't marry, and don't do stupid things again." Li Hohat became anxious when she heard this, and said, "Master, what nonsense are you talking about? All the betrothal gifts we received were used to repay the debts, and we also used all the engagement gifts. If she doesn't marry, what shall we give back to the historian?" Tian Dalan muffled, "I'll borrow it. It is considered lucky to be able to survive by throwing oneself into the river this time. If you don't withdraw your marriage and then hang yourself while they are not paying attention, you may not be so lucky." Li Hohat screamed, "Borrow? Where can we borrow 200 yuan, and who will lend it to us?" "Borrow from the team." Li Hohat was so angry that he pushed him out, and then Zhuan turned his head and said to Tian Xiao, "Dear girl, don't listen to those gossips, they are all uneasy and kind. I gave birth to you after a hard pregnancy in October, how could I still hurt you? You. Tai Xing is a bit older, but older people hurt people." Tian Xiao has the memory of the original body. After hearing this, she couldn't help laughing. She sneered, "It's just bigger. The other party is 34 years old, the original body is not 17 years old, and the age difference between the two is fully doubled. And that old embryo has 3 sons and a daughter under her knees. The eldest son is 15 years old this year and only 2 years younger than the original. How are you? It was clearly a fire pit. Li Hohat paused, and said, yes, Taisheng is much older than you, but Taisheng promised to arrange a job for you after you marry. Speaking of this, her eyes burst into a strange brilliance. Big girl, when you get a job and eat commodity food, you will be paid every month in the future. You don't have to plan food in the fields like me and your father, and die of exhaustion. The whole family can't afford enough food and clothing for the new year and can't even afford a meal of meat. Because my family was poor all these years, I couldn't even afford the gifts for your grandparents. Mother has no face to go back to her mother's house. Big girl, mother doesn't want you to live like this. Speaking of this, her eyes were red. Tian Shao was very angry at first, thinking that the couple was selling their daughter, but when he heard this, he was silent. She grew up with her grandparents and often heard them talk about the past. Plus she has the memory of her original body, so she knows how eager the rural people are to eat commercial food. As long as there is a chance to enter the city, no matter how unreasonable the request is, it will be agreed, which is very crazy. Tian Dia was not happy about the marriage either, but she couldn't refuse the gift of 360 yuan plus a job. Seeing that she was silent, Li Hohat thought she was persuaded by herself. Okay, stay at home for the next 3 days. Get married in 3 days, and live a good life with Taisheng after marriage, don't make trouble for me anymore. Tian Shao said word by word, I want, quit, kiss. Li Hohat couldn't control her temper and cursed again, why did I give birth to you so stupid? People believe you in a few words, and your mother's hard-working words are like farting. Tian Dia, let me tell you, you want a divorce, unless you step over my dead body. The voice was so loud that it almost deafened Tian Shao's ears. If it was the original body, he might give in, but it is impossible to replace Tian Shao. But she knew that the husband and wife loved Yuanshan very much, and they agreed to this marriage because they really wanted her to live a good life. The same is true, Tian Shao stopped confronting Li Hohat. Tian Shao snorted coldly and said, you say I'm stupid, but you are the one who is stupid, right? That person will definitely arrange a job for me when he says he will arrange a job for me. Li Hohat's heart skipped a beat, but she still had a confident look on her clothes. He promised me and your father in front of Aunt Sue, there will be no falsehood. This Aunt Sue is the matchmaker who helps to talk about marriage. Tian Shao didn't care if she was pretending to be stupid or just wanted to gamble, she said bluntly, when someone is married and the raw rice is cooked, so what if he doesn't keep his promise? You can still beat him to death or make him someone take it back. Neither is possible. This is not the 21st century, and divorce is a shame in this day and age. Li Hohat panicked, but quickly said, Taisheng is a cadre, it's not difficult to arrange a job for you, and he doesn't need to lie to us. Well, don't think about it, there will definitely be no work. Questionable. First of all, I would like to wish everyone a happy new year, good health and smooth work. New year, new story, I hope everyone can continue to support. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack Chapter 2, 6 Golden Flowers. Chapter 2 6 Golden Flowers. Tian Shao saw that Li Hohat was obviously worried but still didn't let go, and his face immediately turned ugly. She knew that it was useless to tell Li Hohat any more, because she had already been fascinated by the 4 words of work. Father, come in. After Tian Dalin came in, Tian Shao said to him, it is very difficult to find a job now, you should all know this, right? Li Hohat still wanted her to dispel the idea of renouncing the marriage, and said with restraint of irritability, it's not that it's hard to find, but it's impossible to find. The factory recruits only those with urban hukou, and they are not eligible to apply for rural hukou. Of course, there are 3 ways to get a job with a rural hukou, one is succession, the other is changing jobs, and the third is the assignment of workers, peasants and soldiers to college graduates. But these 3 things have nothing to do with their family. Tian Shao is naturally aware of this. She said, not only are rural household registrations not eligible to enter factories, but many urban household registrations cannot find jobs, so these people are sent down to build rural areas. The commune has a lot of people who have been transferred to the lower levels, and many of them have established families in the local area, so there is no need for her to talk about it. Li Hohat still doesn't believe that Shi Taisheng will lie to her, or more precisely, she is reluctant to part with the job Shi Taisheng promised. My lord, Taisheng is the logistics section chief of the mine. It's not difficult to find a job for you. Tian Xiao said bluntly, the man's eldest son is 15 years old this year, and he is already able to work. Even if he can arrange it, he must first arrange for his son. Or do you think that a fiancé who has only met 2 sides in his heart will be better than a fiancé who has only met twice in his heart? Is your own son more important? In this era, people can start working at the age of 16, even if they are under the age, they can change their date of birth. In my memory, no one said that Tian Dia was good-looking, but they all praised her for being diligent and filial, and said that anyone who married her would be blessed. It was only later that Tian Dalan said that he wanted Tian Dia to recruit a wife, and this kind of joke disappeared. Thinking of this, Tian Xiao sneered and said, this Shi Taisheng just wants to spend 360 yuan to buy a daughter-in-law back, so that he can take care of their family. The fact that Shi Taisheng bought a daughter-in-law does not mean that they are selling their daughter. If someone who wants to hear it, the couple must not be sent to be repaired. Li Hohat was angry and furious, and her fist landed on Tian Xiao's body again, but she was stopped by Tian Dalan after only one blow. Tian Dalan said in a hoarse voice, big girl, your mother and I were the ones who almost pushed you into the pit of fire because we didn't think carefully. Don't worry, I will go to the historian's house with your mother to withdraw from the marriage right now. In fact, the historian asked Aunt Sue, a matchmaker, to come to her door and make 3 kisses. The first time Tian Dalan and Li Hohat refused, the $10 gift will also arrange for Tian Dia to work, and Tian Dalan agrees. When Tian Xiao heard this, the anger that was still in his heart dissipated immediately. Tian's house leaked when it rained, and they still owed the team 180 yuan and a lot of food. The conditions given by Shi Taisheng are really difficult for the husband and wife to refuse, even if they have doubts in their hearts, they will take chances. There is no way, I am afraid of poverty, so I want to gamble. Li Hohat was dragged out by Tian Dalan, but after walking out of the house, she quickly turned back and locked the door. Tian Xiao became impatient seeing that she still didn't give up. Li Hohat said with red eyes, retire. It's easy for you to touch your upper and lower lips. Do you know that we not only repaid the team's debts, but also bought a lot of things for you at the market the day before yesterday? Our family has no money to return to the Shi family. Even if it is calculated by the historians, once the marriage is divorced, the bride price and the engagement ceremony must be returned. This money can't be relied on, otherwise it will be difficult for the next few daughters to talk about kissing. Started to use bitter tricks. It's a pity that Tian Xiao doesn't like this, you know it's a fire pit and you still want me to jump. Li Hohat started to cry, and said while crying, big girl, divorce is not just a matter of no money to pay. Shi Taisheng knows many people, and we have lost his face by destroying marriage now. If he wants to take revenge on our family, he will not be able to live. I beg you, big girl, just be a mother, don't be stubborn for our family anymore. Tian Dia is kind and wants her family to live a good life, so she wronged herself even though she knew it was not a good place to end up. Tian Xiao felt sorry for this sensible girl, she snorted coldly and said, he works in the mine in the neighboring county, so he is not that capable. Besides, barefoot people are not afraid of wearing shoes. If he dares to retaliate, I will sue him, he will be lucky if he doesn't pack up and go home to farm. Li Hohat was so frightened that her heart almost jumped out when she heard this, she didn't understand why she was so courageous after throwing herself into the river. But after calming down and thinking about it, this is indeed the reason, and she was not so afraid just now. Bigya, once you withdraw from the marriage, your reputation will be bad, and it will be difficult to talk about a good marriage in the future. Bigya, mother is afraid that you will regret it. Tian Xiao didn't want to waste any more words, so he made a big move. If you must force me to marry, when I get to the Shi's house and die with that animal, I just hope you don't regret it. Of course, she said that she was only trying to scare Li Hohat if she died together. When it really gets to that point, it's all about severing the relationship. Li Hohat was so frightened that her legs went limp, she said with a white face, you girl, what nonsense are you talking about? Tian Xiao stopped talking, only looked at her coldly. Li Hohat felt a chill in her heart, and when she thought about her throwing into the river before, she said dejectedly, "Forget it, don't marry if you don't marry. We don't have this life." After saying this, Li Hohat staggered out. Tian Shao was a little tired from talking so much in one breath, so he leaned against the wall and fell asleep. She only opened her eyes when she heard footsteps. Sonia asked worriedly, "Sister, does your head still hurt?" Tian Shao shook his head and said, "I'm fine, you don't have to worry. I'm hungry, go cook." Seeing that she looked normal, Sonia went out to work. Thinking about the situation of his family, Tian Shao couldn't help rubbing his temples. Tian Dalan and Li Hohat had 6 daughters together. Originally Tian Dia was hardworking and kind, and started to help Li Hohat with housework and take care of the children when she was 4 years old. Arya had a good face and a bad temper, and would beat up any of her younger sisters who were disobedient. Sonia was taciturn, but she was hardworking and listened to Dia's words. Sia is lazy and greedy, like a glutton who can never get enough to eat. Wuya is like a brave, she won't take out things in her hands. Liuya and Wuya are twins. Back then, Li Hohat gave birth to them and almost died of heavy bleeding. It took nearly a year for them to recover. The twins are very young, and Li Hohat has no milk to support the 2 children. So after being introduced by a middleman, the couple gave Liuya, who was in better health, to a family in the town who could not have children. Who would have thought that when Liuya was 3 years old, her adoptive mother became pregnant, and then turned into a poor little cabbage. The new book needs everyone's support. Please collect and recommend tickets. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth. The canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 3, Saving Lives becomes short-sightedness. Chapter 3, Saving Lives becomes suicide. While thinking about something, Tian Shao suddenly felt as if a fire was burning in his stomach. This feeling quickly spread to her whole body, causing her to curl up involuntarily. Sonia came in with 2 bowls, seeing her in such a hurry. "Elder sister, what's wrong with you, elder sister? Hungry? Then hurry up and eat. Sister, let me feed you." After eating a bowl of sweet potato rice and 2 eggs, Tian Shao felt that he was alive. She didn't take it seriously when she heard her grandparents talk about their pain when they were starving. "Now that I have experienced it myself, I know how uncomfortable it is." Sonia held the bowl and said, "Sister, are you feeling better now?" Before Tian Shao could speak, a person rushed in from outside. Seeing the empty bowl, Sia burst into tears. "Eldest sister, why did you eat all the eggs?" It was as if she ate all the food. Tian Shao frowned, but when she looked up and saw Sia, she was speechless. She has the memories of Dia and knows that Sia doesn't like hygiene, but she didn't expect to be so sloppy. His hair was messed up like a chicken coop, his face was black and white, and his clothes were so dirty that he couldn't see it. It is no exaggeration to say that beggars are cleaner than her. Tian Shao has Dia's memory, and at the same time inherited her emotions. She frowned and said, "You don't feel uncomfortable when it's so dirty, go and wash it off." Her tone of voice is very like that of a big sister. Sia went out dejectedly when she ran out of eggs and was disgusted. Sonia sat by the bed and said softly, "Sister, the Sher family is indeed not a good place to go, but if you don't want to marry, you can directly tell your parents why you threw yourself into the river." "Sister, mother just fainted from fright when she heard the news." Tian Shao remembered that just now Li Hohat did say that she committed suicide by throwing herself into the river, but she didn't ask too much because the matter of the historian made her very angry. "Who told you that I threw myself into the river?" Sonia didn't think too much about it, and said, "Sister Nianxiu said it. She said she saw you throwing yourself into the river." Unfortunately, Sister Lingling just fell into the water accidentally. She couldn't save 2 people at the same time, so she chose to leave the river. Sister Lingling near the river. When she rescued Sister Lingling ashore and wanted to go back to save you, you had already swam ashore by yourself, but you passed out as soon as you got ashore. After hearing this, Tian Shao couldn't help but swear, "She farts." This Ping Nianxiu is also a girl from Tianjia village, but the 2 of them have nothing to do with each other. Tian Shao didn't expect that Ping Nianxiu was so vicious at such a young age. He took the credit of Dia for saving lives and even slandered her by throwing herself into the river. Sonia didn't think much, just asked with a look of surprise, eldest sister, I knew you wouldn't miss it. Eldest sister, you accidentally fell into the river just like Sister Lingling, right? Tian Xiao didn't answer her words, but asked, how do you know about this? Seeing that she didn't explain, Sonia said in a low mood, sister, the whole village knows about this. Big sister, when you start working tomorrow, you must explain it to the villagers, so that they won't scold your parents anymore. Gone. Why are you scolding your parents? Through the contact just now, she recognized Tian Dalan as her father. Sonia felt very uncomfortable, and her voice became softer. They scolded your parents for forcing you to drown yourself in the river for the bride price. They are bad people. Big sister, the truth is clearly not like this. I explained them and said I was stupid. I don't stupid, they wronged their parents. Although the mother has a bad temper and always scolds others, she only hits them when she does something wrong, and she always clings to them first if she has any delicious food. Unlike Xiao Qiao in the house next door, not only does she have to be beaten and scolded every day, but she also never gets enough to eat. Tian Xiao touched her head and asked, what did Tian Lingling's family say? Sonia shook her head and said, Sister Lingling was sent to the hospital in the county seat, and she hasn't come back yet. Sister, you didn't throw yourself into the river, did you? This girl wants to get a definite answer on this matter. Tian Xiao said without even thinking about it, of course not. Sonia, you just said that the whole village knows it. Does that mean that everyone believes what Peng Nianxiu said? That's right, everyone believes that Sister Nianxiu saved the person. Sister, let's explain to everyone now. After saying this, Sonia went to pull her sleeve. Hearing what people in the village said about Tian Dalan and Li Hohat, Sonia felt uncomfortable, and wanted to clear their grievances earlier. With the grass next door as a foil, Tian Dalan and his wife are the best parents in the world in Sonia's heart. Tian Yao didn't do what she wanted, brushed her hand away and said, don't worry about this matter, we will talk about it after Tian Lingling comes back. Sister, are you still angry with your parents? Sister, your parents already know that they are wrong, so please forgive them, okay? Didn't expect the taciturn Sonia to be a filial baby. Tian Xiao explained, it's not that the elder sister doesn't want to explain, but that I'm going to tell everyone that they wouldn't believe me if I didn't throw myself into the river. Saying that she fell into the water by mistake, everyone will only think that she lied to preserve the reputation of Tian Dalan and Li Hohat. And to prove that she is saving someone, the person involved must be present. Now that Tian Lingling is still in the county, it is useless to go to her house. Sonia became a little anxious, and asked, then what should we do, let them slander parents like this? Tian Xiao shook his head and said, of course not. Don't worry, this matter will be resolved within 2 days. As long as Tian Lingling comes back and tells everyone that it was Tian Dia who saved the life, this rumor will naturally be self-defeating. 2 days are still worth waiting, and Sonia responded with one bite. It was uncomfortable to lie on the bed all the time. Tian Xiao also left the house. Although I know the house is dilapidated, it is still shocking to see it. The house was low and rough, and the mud on the walls had fallen off a lot, white and gray, like an ugly monster. But this ugly monster was built bit by Tian Dalan and Li Hohat. According to Yuanjing's grandmother, both of them were exhausted to build this house. Thinking of the husband and wife working hard day and night to feed the whole family, Tian Xiao's grudge against Li Hohat dissipated. While washing her hands, Tian Xiao put her head on the water. She was stunned to see the reflection, willow leaf eyebrows, almond-shaped eyes, oval face, and straight nose bridge. Sonia looked at her staring at the tub in a daze, and gently pushed her, big sister, what's wrong with you, big sister? Tian Xiao came back to his senses, smiled and said, it's okay. She wondered before why the old man was willing to offer so many gifts and use his work to deceive Tian Dalan and his wife. Now she understands that this girl's skin is tan because of working outside all the year round, and her complexion is bad because of her poor family, and she has long bangs on her forehead, so her appearance is not obvious. But as long as the nutrition keeps up, she will definitely be a great beauty. After the conditions are good, she will never lose to those female stars if she dresses up carefully. Tian Xiao's depressed mood was swept away. In her previous life, she could only be considered handsome in appearance, let alone envious of those beauties, and now she made up for this shortcoming. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth. The canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 4, Shi Taisheng. Chapter 4 Shi Taisheng. Boom. Arya put the wooden bucket in her hand on the ground heavily, and shouted angrily, Dia Tian, you made my father and mother scolded by the whole village because of you, and our family is about to stop cooking. How can you still laugh? Tian Dia has a good temper and always gives way to her younger sisters, and has never had a dispute with Arya. But Tian Shao didn't have such a good sex. She looked at Tian Arya's big face and said coldly, I did it to you. Tell me, why did I do it to you? The original body picked out the advantages of Tian Dalan and his wife, Tian Arya, on the contrary, picked out the shortcomings of Tian and Li's family, with a stout body, a flat face with a flat nose and a thick mouth. Fortunately, she has a lot of strength, otherwise Li Hohat would be worried to death. Tian Arya said angrily, you don't want to talk about this marriage at the beginning. Now that the family has spent all the money, you ran into the river. Are you trying to kill us? Tian Shao sneered and said, why didn't I object to this marriage at the beginning? It was because I wanted my parents to live a good life with you, so I decided to sacrifice myself. Are you so angry that you really feel sorry for your parents? No, you feel that the good days you have won are gone, and even the days will be worse than before, so you are full of resentment towards me. But, what right do you have to blame me? Yuan then is really kind to his younger sisters, he always takes care of them first, and never cares about suffering. Fortunately, Sonia and Wuya listened to Yuan Shen's words, but Arya and Sia didn't pay attention to her. Tian Arya felt a little guilty. Tian Dalan and his wife originally asked Tian Dia to recruit a relative, but because of the Shi family, the couple planned to let her recruit a relative. She thought that the family had received so many betrothal gifts, and it would be fine for Dia to have a job to subsidize the family's recruitment. As a result, everything fell through, and she became dissatisfied. Tian Shao guessed what she was thinking, but didn't say it out. Everyone has a selfish side, and Tian Arya has her own little Jojo who can understand it. It's just that she is not the original body, and it is impossible to tolerate them like the original body. Tian Arya, I am the eldest sister, if you yell at me or hit me in the future, I will beat you to death. Anyway, here, it is very common for the big ones to beat the small ones. Tian Arya lowered her head and said nothing. After more than half an hour, a whistle sounded outside, and Arya and Sonia hurried to work. Sia ran out to play, and Wuya collected the clothes in the yard. Tian Shao touched her head and said, go and play too. The children couldn't hide their words, so Wuya shook her head and said, eldest sister, third sister asked me to stay at home with you. Tian Shao laughed dumbfounded. It's true that the companionship is fake and that she might do something stupid again, but Sonia is a taciturn person who is considerate and considerate. Watching the skinny Wuya keep busy, Tian Shao felt embarrassed to sit there and help her with her work. After about half an hour, there were footsteps outside. Tian Shao looked up and found that the husband and wife brought back a person. The man was wearing a Chinese tunic suit, with a pen pinned to his left chest. The face is fat like steamed buns, and the eyes are squinted, looking very wretched. And this wretched man is none other than Shi Taisheng who cheated on the marriage. Needless to say, this person came with Tian Dalan and his wife, which showed that the marriage was not over. Thinking of this, Tian Shao's face immediately sank. Before Tian Shao could speak, Li Hohat dragged her into the room, twisted her hard and scolded in a low voice, why did I give birth to such a fool as you, who took advantage of him and even divorced? This must be spread who will marry you after you go out. You girl, do you really want to force me and your father to death? Tian Shao laughed back angrily, pushed Li Hohat away, then picked up the clay pot from the table and walked out. Shi Taisheng saw Tian Shao approaching him aggressively, and quickly said, big girl, I didn't lie to you, I have already found a job, you marry. Before he could speak, Tian Shao slammed the clay pot on his head, the big-headed ghost who married your mother. After cursing this sentence, Tian Shao kicked Shi Taisheng to the ground again, and cursed while kicking, you son of a bitch, you want to ruin my reputation after cheating on your marriage, see if I don't beat you to death today. When she was 5 years old, a relative's daughter was murdered while studying abroad. Her grandfather was frightened and sent her to learn Sonda instead. After years of practice, it is not a problem to deal with a grown man. Shi Taisheng let out a pig cry. Tian Dalin and Li Hohat watched their usually gentle and kind daughter suddenly turn into a tigress, and they were both petrified. It wasn't until Shi Taisheng yelled for help that the two came back to their senses. Li Hohat went to stop her but was pushed away by Tian Shao, and finally Tian Dalin pulled her away. Most people in the village are working, but many of the old and the weak stay at home. A child heard the commotion and ran over to watch the commotion, but when he saw Shi Taisheng's head was covered with blood, he yelled, "Mother," in fright, threw away the mud in his hand and ran away in a hurry. Li Hohat originally wanted to scold Tian Shao, but when she found out that there were children coming in to watch, she wished she would pass out. The daughter suddenly fell ill and made a big fuss like a madman, and now there is no way to end it. Shi Taisheng had never suffered such humiliation. He wiped the blood from his face, got up from the ground and said, "Tian Dia, you hit me. I will definitely send you to the police, and let you sit in prison." Li Hohat sat down on the ground in fright, and Tian Dalin's legs were also a little weak. Tian Shao felt that his attack was too light, so he picked up a stick and beat him hard, and then he found a rope from the kitchen to tie him up. After tying him up, she said to Li Hohat, who was stunned, "Mom, now go and invite the captain to come to our house." Seeing that Li Hohat didn't move, Tian Shao reminded, "If you don't want me to be arrested by the police and go to jail, you should quickly invite the village head and women's director." Tian Dalin looked at his daughter's calm expression, wiped the sweat off his face with his sleeve and said, "Mother, please go and invite the captain and director go." When Li Hohat heard this, she quickly got up and ran out. When Captain Tian arrived with the women's director, many people had already gathered outside Tian Dalin's yard. "What are you doing here? Hurry up and get to work." How could they want to leave such a big commotion? But when Captain Tian said with a straight face that work points would be deducted, these people broke up. Captain Tian and Gu Honghua, the women's director, were frightened as soon as they entered the main room. Shi Taisheng's forehead and face were covered with blood, and he was like a rice dumpling. Captain Tian said with a straight face, "Dalin, what are you doing?" "Woo, woo, woo." Shi Taisheng was speechless because of a rotten eggplant stuffed in his mouth. Captain Tian said, "Dalin, let him go quickly, and sit down and talk about it if you have anything to say. If this kills someone, you have to pay for it. There is going to be a killer/person/criminal in the village. Not only the whole village is 3 points short when they go out, but they will not have any good deeds in the society in the future." Tian Shao stood up and said, "Captain, this matter has nothing to do with my father. I beat this old bastard." Captain Tian didn't believe it in his heart, but if Tian Shao beat him, the nature of the matter would be different, so he followed her words and asked, "Why did you beat him?" In the morning, Tian Dalin came to him to borrow money, saying that he would return the bride price from the historian's marriage. He didn't feel embarrassed to borrow the money, and Tian Dia threw himself into the river, otherwise he would be responsible if he didn't borrow the money. Tian Shao saw that Captain Tian was biased towards him, and felt a little relieved, because he cheated on the marriage and slandered me to ruin my reputation. When Shi Taisheng heard this, he struggled hard, wanting to defend himself, but unfortunately Captain Tian and Gu Honghua's attention was on Tian Shao. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth. The canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 5, Divorce, 1. Chapter 5 Retirement, 1. Chapter 5 Retirement, 1. Gu Honghua was very surprised when he heard about the fraudulent marriage, and said, "Didn't the historian give a bride price of 360 yuan, so why did they cheat on the marriage?" Because the couple received the dowry and repaid the money they owed to the team, everyone in the village knew about it, and that's why some people said that the couple sold their daughter. Tian Shao said, when he said that he gave the gift of 360 yuan, my parents did not agree to the marriage. Later he lied to my parents, saying that he had already found a job for me, and he would go to work as soon as I got married. Parents agreed to this. Captain Tian looked at Tian Dalin and his wife and asked, "Is everything you said true?" He was wondering before that Tian Dalin and Li Hohat had always loved Dia, so why would they marry Dia to such a man for a gift of 360 yuan? But if there is a job, it makes sense. The two nodded, and Li Hohat said with reddened eyes, yes. The child's father and I thought that Dia would live a better life after getting a job, so we agreed. Captain Tian understood, and asked, you mean the work is fake? Seeing her nodding, Captain Tian asked again, slandering you and trying to ruin your reputation, what's going on? Tian Shao twisted himself hard, the pain was so painful that tears could not help but fall down. She shed tears and said, my parents went to withdraw the engagement, but he didn't want to withdraw, so he slandered me and him as husband and wife. My parents thought what he said was true, so they didn't dare to withdraw the engagement. He came here to threaten me to marry him, otherwise people outside would know that I lost my virginity to him, it was a broken shoe. I was so angry that I lost my mind, took a ceramic pot and hit him on the head and beat him up. Shi Taisheng looked at Tian Shao with a look of horror on his face. He said before that he and Tian Dia had a physical relationship, because he was sure that the couple would not dare to say anything, and they would obediently marry their daughter to him. But she didn't expect Tian Dia to lose face in order not to marry him. Li Hohat almost fainted. How could she tell outsiders this? Gu Honghua couldn't help but size Tian Shao up and down when he heard the words, but this kind of sizing didn't affect Tian Shao at all. Tian Shao snorted coldly and said, Captain, I only met him twice, both at home. Sonia and Wuya were by my side all the time. I haven't seen him since we got engaged. He said that to force me to marry. Captain Tian pulled out the rotten eggplant from Shi Tiesheng's mouth and asked, what Dia said is true, did you trick Dahlin and the others into agreeing to the marriage by using your work? Shi Taisheng denied it categorically, no. The job is real. I have already found it. She can go to work when she marries into my family. Tian Shao saw that he still didn't give up, so he sneered and said, then tell me, what kind of job did you find for me? I'm talking about regular workers. Don't fool with temporary workers who may be fired at any time. Shi Taisheng was startled, why did Tian Dia understand this? No matter who enters the factory, they all start as temporary workers. He was convinced that Tian Dahlin and Li Hohat had little knowledge of the outside world, so he wanted to coax them with work, so that when someone married in, they would not be afraid of making trouble. But I didn't expect that there would be a sudden change 3 days after the marriage. Captain Tian asked bluntly, just tell me what your job is, don't need to talk about what you have and what you don't have. If Shi Taisheng was working in a factory in the county, he would give him 3 points of leeway, but the county next door is not close to them at all, so there is no need to be polite. Just the hygienists in the factory. Captain Tian frowned and said, all hygienists need to go to the hospital to study, pass the assessment and then be assigned to various places by the hospital. Although you can read and know nothing about diseases and medicines, how can you become a hygienist? Shi Taisheng quickly explained, it's not the hygienist who treats people, but the hygienist who sweeps the floor. The cleaner was said to be a hygienist, and Tian Shao almost swears again. Rural people can get a job because their ancestors burn incense, and they don't choose any job. But the captain saw that he was hiding a traitor in his heart, so he continued to ask, how long will it take to become a regular? Shi Taisheng paused, and then said, half a year. Captain Tian no longer believed him, and deliberately said, my Jianla often travels to Sichuan County to collect goods, and I happen to be going there in the next day. If I find out that you lied to me, I will definitely report you to the police. Shi Tai broke out in a cold sweat when he heard this. The mine didn't hire cleaners, but one elder sister had a sprained waist and needed to be cared for half a year, and the other party wanted to find someone to take over the half-year shift. This is not a secret, as long as you go to the mine to find out, Captain Tian. I was so confused because I really wanted to marry her. But if the big girl is not happy, then forget it, the twisted melon is not sweet, I agree to withdraw from the marriage. Captain Tian didn't want to make things big, so he asked Tian Shao, what do you say about this? Tian Shao was unwilling and insisted on sending him to the police. If he reported the crime, he would lose his job. Shi Taisheng was finally scared, dear, I was deceived by Lard, please forgive me. As long as you promise not to report the crime, I can make it up. Captain Tian didn't want to report the case and make the matter worse. Firstly, he would lose face if the news spread, and secondly, he was afraid that Tian Shao would not be able to bear the pressure of gossip and would be overwhelmed. Seeing that Tian Shao was unwilling to change his words, he specially called people into the main room to persuade him. Tian Shao's attitude was very firm, and he said, "Captain, you don't need to persuade me anymore, I won't change my mind." Captain Tian didn't expect her to have such a tough temper, but that's good too. In the next generation, there will be someone who can handle things and others will not dare to bully their family. Have you considered the consequences if you insist on sending him to the police? I'm not afraid of being said. Just a few gossips. Say what you like, anyway, there will be no loss of meat. Furthermore, she will leave here after the resumption of the college entrance examination in 2 years. The captain shook his head and said, "Big girl, the old lady of the Shi family was famous as a hog meat when she was young, and her 3 brothers are all very fierce. If you send Shi Taixing to the police and make him lose his job, it will be a death feud. Don't expect to have a peaceful life in your family in the future." I didn't let him live in peace. Captain Tian said, "He has a job, so he dare not retaliate if he has scruples. But if you destroy his job, and the barefoot ones are not afraid of wearing shoes, their family will fight you to the end. Your family is your father a man, what if something happens to the family? This is very straightforward." Tian Shao was silent for a moment, went out and said to Shi Taixing, "You can report the case if you don't want me, but you must write a confession letter admitting cheating marriage and slandering my reputation. If you don't write it, I will send you to the police right now." With this confession, Shi Taixing would not dare to do anything to her family even if he felt resentful, at least not in the short term. As for the future, if she can't even deal with Shi Taixing, all these years will be in vain. Captain Tian looked at Tian Shao with admiration. In order to keep his job, Shi Taixing gritted his teeth and wrote a confession letter, in duplicate, and signed it with his own fingerprint. Captain Tian and Gu Honghua also signed on it as witnesses. Tian Shao kept one of the 2 confessions, and gave the other to Captain Tian in front of Shi Taixing, saying that if she had an accident, she would hand over the confession to the police. Captain Tian agreed. Shi Taixing was startled and terrified, he really didn't expect Tian Shao to act so sophisticatedly. If he had known that he was so powerful, he would never have come to propose marriage. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 6, Withdrawal, 2. Chapter 6 Retirement, 2. Just taking the confession is not enough, Tian Shao also paid 160 yuan for reputation damage. Gu Honghua thinks it's too much, because a worker in the county town only earns about 20 yuan a month. She pulled Tian Shao aside and said, "Big girl, if this matter gets out, people will think you are greedy for money, and it will be difficult for you to talk about kissing in the future." Tian Shao asked in surprise, "Aunt Gu, there are only 6 of us here, as long as everyone doesn't tell us, who will know?" After she finished speaking, she looked at Shi Taixing and asked, "If I hear even half a word of gossip outside, I will send this confession to the police." Shi Taixing quickly said, "Don't worry, I won't say a word. If I say it, I will kill my children and grandchildren without a place to die." He's remorseful now. If he had known Tian Dia became like a Rakshasa ghost after throwing himself into the river, he should have agreed to withdraw from the marriage just now, and if he hadn't run over, he wouldn't have been beaten up and lost so much money. Tian Shao snorted coldly, "Bullying the soft and afraid of the hard, wash the blood off your head and face and get out." With Tian Shao holding the handle, Shi Taixing didn't dare to object, he tidied himself up and left in a hurry. Captain Tian saw that the matter was settled, and left with Gu Honghua. After they got out, he said to Gu Honghua, "Don't tell anyone what happened just now, otherwise it will be your fault if this girl really gets upset and throws herself into the river." Gu Honghua paused, and said unnaturally, "Captain, look at what you said, how can I talk nonsense about such things? It's good to know." After finishing speaking, he walked away with his hands behind his back. Li Hohot waited for Captain Tian and the others to leave, and rushed over to the money from Tian Shao. "That can't wait, look, as if the money will be gone later." Tian Dalin looked at Tian Shao and frowned and said, "Big girl, we shouldn't want this money." Tian Shao asked very strangely, "The fraudulent marriage surnamed Shi ruined my reputation, why can't I ask for compensation?" And only after he has paid the price, will he know that our family is not easy to mess with, otherwise he will definitely retaliate against us. Everyone is like this, those who are stupid are afraid of being stunned, those who are stupefied are afraid of violence, and those who are stupid are afraid of death. Shi Taisheng knew she was ferocious, so he didn't dare to attack casually. Tian Dalan thought it made sense after hearing this, and said after a moment of silence, since the divorce is over, you are not allowed to do stupid things anymore. Li Hohat's heart skipped a beat. Since her daughter woke up, she has become strong and fierce, and she is a completely different person from before. Her heart skipped a beat, and she asked strong and calmly, "Big girl, why are you suddenly so strong that you kick someone to the ground with one kick?" Tian Shao had already thought of an excuse, and said, "It's not because of great strength, but because of cleverness. These are all taught by Grandma Zhu. I didn't use them before, so I didn't let you know." When Dia was 6 years old, she accidentally knocked her head while carrying Arya on her back to hunt pigweed, and she bled a lot. It happened to be seen by an old man named Zhu Yuxiu back in the village. She applied medicine to stop the bleeding of Dia, and it was also because the medicine she gave did not leave a scar on Dia's forehead. Zhu Yuxiu's husband is from Tianjia village, and he and Tian Dalan have not been married for 5 times. When Dia was 5 years old, she came to Tianjia village with her husband's ashes in her hands, but no one had seen her before. It was only by relying on her husband's marriage certificate and 3 merit medals that she successfully settled in the village. At that time, my family persuaded her to adopt a child, but she didn't agree, so she lived alone. When Dia was 8 years old, she accidentally broke her leg, and the people sent by the team didn't take care of her wholeheartedly. Dia saw it when she went to visit, and reported it directly to the captain, and then took the initiative to take care of the elderly. Washing and cooking, serving tea and water, serving with all my heart. Once Zhu Yuxiu's legs recovered, he taught Dia how to read. Dia is very smart and has endured hardships. With the help of the old man, she obtained her primary school graduation certificate through self-study. In that year, the old man Zhu Yuxiu died of illness. Before she died, Zhu Yuxiu told her to keep studying and strive to get her junior high school diploma. Also because of her dying words, Dia studied hard and got her junior high school diploma. Li Hohat asked again, "Big girl, at the beginning of the year you fell and left a big scar on your arm, do you remember where you fell?" Tian Shao felt that Li Hohat was quite shrewd, so she tested herself. She rolled up the sleeve of her right hand, revealing a scar the size of a walnut and said, "Mother, this injury didn't come from falling, but from being scalded by Arya." At the beginning of the year, because Arya was dissatisfied with Sonya's disobedience to her, she casually picked up a stick with sparks on it and threw it at it. When Tian Dia saw that she stepped forward to stop her, the fire stick landed on her arm and burned a big piece of it. Li Hohat secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It seems that her daughter was not possessed by a water ghost. "That's good. If you are possessed by a water ghost, you have to ask a sorceress to exorcise the evil spirits." Tian Dalan didn't think too much, looked up at the sun above his head and said, "Okay, let's go to work quickly." After finishing speaking, he left, and now he can earn 2 or 3 work points. After Li Hohat took the money into the house and hid it, she hurried out with it on her shoulder. Tian Shao felt very tired, covered his head and went back to sleep. Seeing Wuya following closely, she smiled and said, "Don't worry, the marriage is over, I'm sure I won't seek death again, go play your tricks." She fell asleep after lying on the bed for a while, and the sun had already set when she woke up. When she walked out the door, she saw Sonya washing rice and Wuya feeding chickens. As soon as Sonya saw her, she asked with a smile, "Sister, are you feeling better?" Tian Shao saw that she was about to pour out the rice washing water, so he quickly took a wooden basin to fill it in. "Don't pour out the rice washing water from now on, use the wooden basin to fill it. Now it is a collective system, and the family can only raise chickens but not pigs, so it is useless to keep the rice washing water and just throw it away." Sonya asked strangely, "Sister, what do you want this rice water for?" "Wash your face." Washing the face with rice water can whiten the skin, but there is no other way, because we are too poor to afford whitening skin care products. Of course, even if she had money, she couldn't buy it. Therefore, only the most primitive method can be used. One white covers all ugliness, on the contrary, once it turns black, most of its appearance is lost. Dia doesn't know how to take care of it, she will take good care of this face. Ah, wash your face with rice water. Isn't that dirty? Rinse with rice washing water first, and then rinse with well water. Sonia glanced outside, then lowered her voice and said, if second sister knows, she will definitely scold you again. There is no pressurized well in their house, and the water for drinking is taken from the well at the entrance of the village. On weekdays, Tian Dalan was the one who carried the water, and if he was busy, it would fall to area Tian. It's not that Tian Dia is lazy, but that area is strong. She dare not scold. She is not the original body, if scolding is rude to her, let her taste what it is like to be oppressed and beaten. After Tian Shao washed his face, he went to pick vegetables in the private plot in the backyard. Because there are 7 people in the family, more than 7% of the private land is divided. They have a large population but only one strong laborer who gets full marks, so 2/3 grow sweet potatoes, and the rest grow vegetables. There are still a lot of varieties in the vegetable garden, including peppers, loofahs, beans, bitter gourds, and water spinach. Tian Shao picked a basket of vegetables such as peppers, loofahs, and eggplants before returning. There are only oil and salt in the kitchen, but the oil is still lard and has bottomed out. Tian Shao sighed, he had to go to the city to find a job as soon as possible, otherwise he really couldn't live. It took a lot of effort for Tian Shao to cook 3 dishes and 1 soup, which were stir-fried bitter gourd with hot pepper, fried beans with eggplant, hand-patted cucumber, and loofah egg soup. It's also fortunate that I knew how to cook some home-cooked dishes in my previous life, otherwise I probably wouldn't be able to eat dishes made only from Dia's memory. Sonia said worriedly, eldest sister, you have used up all the oil, mother will scold you to death when you come back. Don't worry, mother won't scold me. Today, she got a compensation of 160, if Li Hohat scolded her, she would definitely back it. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 7, Poverty. Chapter 7 Poverty. As it was getting dark, Tian Dalan, Li Hohat and Arya came back with a load of firewood each. Tian Shao had a bad impression of Arya before, but seeing her carrying 2 heavy bundles of firewood at such a young age felt a little distressed. Tian Shao is very clear that this emotion is not hers. During eating, Li Hohat saw the dishes on the table and couldn't help scolding, I cook so many dishes and put so much oil, how can I live in the future? Tian Shao was not angry either, she knew that Li Hohat was used to frugality, you and dad have to do so much work every day, if you don't eat better, you will lose your body. Li Hohat paused, and then said unnaturally, then, forget it this time, and you can't be so busy in the future. Tian Shao shook his head and said, Mother, the summer harvest will be harvested soon. You can ask someone to send a message to uncle, if someone finds wild game, help buy 2 to eat. The Li family is a mountain dweller, and their life was very difficult in the past. But now that the outside world is under public ownership, the life of the mountain people is better. Because the mountain roads are difficult to walk and the commune is far away, no one knows that they raise more poultry in the mountains. And there are many mountain products and other things to fill your stomach can be found in the mountains. Unlike commune members, the number of poultry raised is fixed and other things are even more so. Buy 2. How dare you? Seeing Tian Shao looking at her, Li Hohat remembered that she had received a large amount of compensation today, and her tone softened a little, big girl, our family still owes a lot of debts. There are only 180 in the team, and you too there are also many great-grandpas and uncles' houses. When Tian Arya heard this, her face was very ugly. Tian Shao saw that she was in pain before buying, and knew that it would not work for her to buy meat. Tianjia village is not connected to electricity yet, and kerosene is also very expensive. Li Hohat is reluctant to use it. After eating and washing, the family all go back to the house and lie down. Tian's house has 4 rooms that are fairly spacious, but one room is used to store various things, so Dia takes 3 and 5 houses to one room. Sonia climbed onto the bed and asked, Sister, if someone whispers something unpleasant in your ear, just pretend you didn't hear it. Someone gossips about me? Gossip news spreads fast, no matter what era it is. Sonia hummed and said, "Sister, those people like to chew their tongues all day long when they have nothing to do. If you ignore it, you will get angry with yourself." Tian Xiao smiled and said, "I don't care." "Sonia, how many of the characters I taught you to recognize before, do you still remember?" Tian Dia is a good older sister, and after she can read, she will teach her younger sisters. It's a pity that the second Ye was not interested in literacy, the fourth Ye couldn't sit still, and the fifth Ye was too young at that time, only the third Ye learned a lot of words along with her. Sonia said with some embarrassment, "Sister, I have forgotten most of them. You will learn it again with me tomorrow. I cannot read, and it will be difficult to go out after 20 years. Sonia hesitated and said, "Eldest sister, they all said that reading and writing are useless, so let's stop learning. Literacy is really a boring thing." She would rather do needlework than read. At the beginning, Tian Dia was also very interested, and she couldn't bear to refuse, so she followed her for a year. Tian Xiao smiled and said, "How can studying be useless? If it is useless, why both the captain and Tian Chun brothers send their children to study? Why do factories have to have a junior high school education or above to recruit confessions? Her great-grandfather's family is also poor, but his grandfather can study and was admitted to a technical secondary school. At that time, technical secondary school students would be assigned jobs, and her grandfather was assigned to work in an agency after graduation, so the old man attached great importance to studying." Sonia retorted, "They can join the army and enter the factory after studying, but we can't. Sister, you have studied hard for so many years, but in the end you still have to work in the fields to earn work points." Tian Xiao didn't continue to say that studying can change one's destiny. Now that there is no college entrance examination, one cannot pass one's exams to change one's destiny, and now one can't change Sonia's thinking by talking about it. It won't harm you, and it won't hurt to learn more words. Sonia hesitated. Tian Xiao said, "You don't know how to read. When you go to the city to buy things, you have to ask the salesperson if you don't know the characters on the goods. Sonia, if you don't read with me now, you will definitely regret it later." When it comes to this point, Sonia no longer refuses. Wu Ye, who had been silent all this time, said, "Eldest sister, I can also read." "Okay, let's learn together then." After a while, the two little girls fell asleep. Tian Xiao couldn't fall asleep because he was so full of thoughts, and lay on the bed tossing and turning. Grandparents died of illness 2 years ago, so there is nothing to worry about in modern times. The night in the countryside is very lively. Quack quack, buzzing buzz, I got it, the sounds of frogs, insects, and cicadas are intertwined, and the waves are higher than the waves. After a long time, Tian Xiao said to himself, "If you come, you will be safe. At least this father is good, and this mother is relatively good." Although Tian Dalin and Li Hohat have their own shortcomings, they both love children. Unlike her scumbag father, after the divorce, the daughter didn't care and still tried her best to the blood of her parents. Grandparents showed up when they were seriously ill and hospitalized, and came to inherit the inheritance when everyone was gone. When she found out that she had no inheritance and knew that she had 2 houses in Shanghai, she was forced to transfer the ownership of the big house to her half-brother. If she disagreed, she went to court to sue. As for her mother, she didn't show up after the divorce, and she came out with a fraudulent corpse after she started working, and said that she was not doing well and asked her to support her half-brother. Fortunately, after her grandparents died of illness, she made a will. Once she had an accident, all the property under her name would be donated to the Children and Teenagers Fund. I think the face of the scumbag parents will be very exciting when they know this. In the master bedroom, Li Hohat pushed Tian Dalin beside her and said, "Father, have you noticed that you seem to be a different person? Tian Dalin is neither blind nor deaf, so how can he not see the changes in his daughter? I used to hear people say that people's temperaments will change drastically after experiencing life and death. It's normal for Dia to have some changes in her temperament after being so stimulated." Li Hohat didn't think so. She hesitated for a while and lowered her voice and said, "Father, do you think the big girl will get dirty with something? No matter how temperamental you change, it's impossible to become so big." Tian Dalin was taken aback. He stood up and said angrily, "What are you talking about? Now that feudal superstitions are broken, people will be criticized if they hear your words. Who can hear us whispering? It was because she was worried about being overheard that she lowered her voice. Tian Dalan felt that he had to be cautious, and there might be someone who listened to the corner. Don't think about it. My temper has only changed, and nothing else has changed. I am still as diligent and filial as before. Thinking of Tian Xiao saying that they need to make up for their lack of health, Li Hohat also felt that she was thinking too much. Not only has her temper become stronger, but her hands have become looser. The oil at home is usually used for 3 days, and she uses it up in one meal. This is also considered now. She still wants to buy wild game. How can she be so capable? As for Li Hohat, who can't wait to spend a penny in half, spending money to buy wild game is tantamount to killing her. After all, Dia got her fame in exchange for that money, so she can buy it if she wants to eat it. Li Hohat hesitated and said, "There is no 2 tails of meat in this wild animal, and the meat is still very firewood. After 2 days, you will send firewood to your cousin and ask her to help buy 2 caddies of suet. The lard made from suet is very fragrant for cooking, and the oil residue for cooking or bibimbap is very fragrant, and the whole family loves it." Thinking about his cousin's temper, Tian Dalan said with some uncertainty, "Let me try it." End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth. The canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 8, a murder caused by a milk candy. Chapter 8, a murder caused by a toffee. Whoa! A burst of passionate crowing woke up Tian Xiao, who was soundly asleep. She felt someone get up and barely opened her eyes, only to find that the outside was still gray. "What are you doing before dawn?" Sonia said with a good temper, "Sister, you are not feeling well, go to sleep, I will make breakfast." Tian Xiao hummed and turned around and continued to sleep. When she woke up, she found that she was the only one left on the bed. Stretching, Tian Xiao put on a patched dress and went out. Walking out of the house, she saw Wuya sweeping the floor. Tian Xiao asked, "Where are your parents?" Wuya pointed to the mountain behind her and said, "Dad and Mother took the second sister to the mountain to cut firewood before dawn." Hearing this, Tian Xiao felt very uncomfortable. Li Hohat gave birth to a child 7 years ago with massive bleeding, and it took more than a year for her to get better. The same is true for her family, who fell into a huge deficit. In order to support the family, Tian Dalan went to the mountains to cut firewood every day before dawn and after work. After drying, he cut off the wood and sent it to his cousin's house in the county. Of course, it's actually a sale, and the cousin will give money or take something in return. But this cousin is too shrewd, knowing that Tian Dalan's family has no other way to only pay half of the market price. Just like this, she felt that she had taken care of Tian Dalan's family. Tian Dalan and Li Hohat also knew that the other side had oppressed them, but they had no choice. This was the only way they found. When Sonia was making breakfast, Tian Dalan specially asked her to cook an extra egg for Tian Xiao. Sia stared at the egg in Tian Xiao's hand and swallowed her saliva. Seeing that Tian Xiao was about to eat it by herself, she asked for it. "Sister, I want to eat eggs too." Tian Xiao looked at her and asked, "Tell me." Sonia gets up in the morning to cook and wash clothes, and Wuya picks vegetables and sweeps the floor. "What about you? What did you do in the morning?" Sia was speechless. Tian Xiao gave half of the eggs to Wuya, and said, "Wuya can eat eggs if she does work today, but you don't have eggs to eat if you don't work." Sia hurriedly said, "Sister, I will definitely work tomorrow, so give me eggs first. From today onwards, if you don't work, you won't have any good things." Li Hohat beat her up many times because she was too lazy to eat, but it didn't work. Tian Xiao felt that if she wanted to change, she had to start with eating. Seeing Wuya enter the kitchen and take out a piece of oiled paper, Tian Xiao asked strangely, "I asked you to take the bowl, what are you doing with it?" Wuya whispered, "Breakfast is coming soon, I will save up these eggs and eat them when I am hungry." After she finished speaking, she carefully put the half of the egg into oiled paper, and then gently wrapped it up and put it in her pocket. The attitude of the godly city seemed to be doing a particularly sacred thing. Sia was so sad that she couldn't eat the eggs and cried. Comparing the two little girls, Tian Xiao suddenly felt ashamed when she thought that her grandmother had to find ways to coax her to eat eggs and milk when she was young. After a while, Tian Dalan, Li Hohat and Arya came back. The three quickly washed their faces and ate quickly. Because they were about to go to work soon, Tian Shao felt very uncomfortable watching the three gobble up. As soon as the whistle sounded outside, the husband and wife immediately put down the bowls and chopsticks, picked up the farm tools and went out. Arya and Sonya followed closely behind. Sia and Wuya are too young to work in the fields, but they have received errands to kill pigweed and herd cattle. These are easy jobs, and the captain gave special care to them because it was too difficult for their family, otherwise, the little sisters would not be able to do this job. It can also be seen from this that the captain is very good. Tian Shao was too embarrassed to be idle, so he washed the sheets and mats in the house and dried them, and then cleaned the kitchen. Wuya came back from herding cattle, and saw cabinets, pots and pans, etc. placed at the door of the house. Wuya rubbed the back of her head and asked with a puzzled look, "Elder sister, what are you doing?" Tian Shao wiped off the sweat from his head, and said with a smile, "The kitchen is too dirty, I cleaned it up. I'll take a break first, you cook." Tian Dia has always been diligent, and Wuya didn't suspect anything. Near noon, the two started cooking. Tian Shao was preparing to cook, when suddenly there was a burst of crying outside. Wuya threw away the tongs, got up and said, "Eldest sister, it's fourth sister who is crying." When the two walked out of the kitchen, they saw Arya dragging the crying Sia into the yard. One of the two had messy hair and bloodstains on his face, while the other had clear 5 fingerprints on his face. Tian Shao was about to speak, but Arya pushed Sia to the ground and scolded angrily, "Are you a reincarnation of a starving ghost? How many times have I told you not to steal food from other people's houses, but you just don't listen, they deserve to be beaten to death." Tian Shao's expression turned ugly when he heard this. If it's just a fight between children, Sia can only admit that Sia made a mistake before the other party hit hard, but adults can't do it. If you don't pursue it, the other party will bully her family in the future. Arya saw that she was still crying, so she kicked her in anger. "Cry, cry, cry, you still have face, your family's face has been completely humiliated by you." Tian Shao pulled her up and said, "Sia is at fault, but if she is like this, you should stop beating her." Arya shook off Tian Shao's hand, and said with red eyes, "It's all your fault. If you treat yourself to marriage instead of throwing yourself into the river suddenly, with the support of historians, they wouldn't dare to bully us like this." She couldn't mention how happy she was when the marriage was settled. With such a powerful brother-in-law, not only can the family live in a big brick house and live a good life, but no one in the village dares to bully them anymore. As a result, the marriage ended 2 days before I was happy, and the family fell into a more difficult situation than before. Whenever she thinks of this incident, she feels very resentful. Tian Shao said with unfriendly eyes, "The historian is a pit of fire, you want to jump your own sister into the pit of fire in order to live a good life?" Arya didn't think so, pointed at Tian Shao's nose and cursed, "What kind of fire pit? The historian is obviously a nest of blessings. If someone provokes a few words, just believe them. Just forget about being stupid, and you'll hurt your parents and us." Arya didn't know about the process of retiring yesterday, neither did Tian Dalan and Li Hohat, so she thought Shi Taisheng was a good person. Tian Shao ignored her, walked over to help Sia up, then fetched water to wash her face and hands. "Who hit her?" Sia choked and said, "Little fat lady beat me." "Eldest sister, I don't want to, but the big white rabbit toffee is so delicious that I couldn't hold it back for a while." Tian Shao thought about it for a while, and asked, "Shao Peng, Peng Nianqiu's second brother?" "Yes. Peng Nianqiu's family has 3 daughters and 2 sons. Peng's father and Peng's mother are not hardworking people. Life is more difficult than their families. How can they have money to buy toffee?" Thinking of this, Tian Shao's heart skipped a beat, and he asked, "Is the milk candy from Tian Lingling's family?" Sia choked up and said, "Yes. Sister Lingling's family not only sent big white rabbit milk candy and a large piece of meat, but also sent 2 cans of malted milk to Nianqiu's body. By the way, they also sent several put some clothes on for Sister Nianqiu to wear." She was still waiting for Tian Lingling to tell everyone that it was Dia who saved the life, so the rumors would be self-defeating, and now it seems that the worst situation has emerged. Sia's eyes showed yearning. Elder sister, I heard that malted milk is delicious. They are so happy, big and small. Tian Xiao didn't even know what to say. Just crying so sadly, and forgetting about being beaten as soon as you talk about eating, this level is really beyond the reach of ordinary people. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 9, Tian Lingling. Chapter 9 Tian Lingling. Chapter 9 Tian Lingling. After Tian Xiao helped Sia comb her hair, he pulled her to go out. Arya saw something was wrong, stepped forward to stop the two of them, and said with a dark face, "What are you doing? That shrew is not easy to mess with. If you come to the door alone, you will be beaten out of the shit." The wound on her hair and face was scratched by that shrew. Of course, the other party didn't take advantage of it, and was beaten to the point of crying by her. If she hadn't been pulled away, she would have beaten the shrew until she couldn't get up. Sia didn't want to be beaten, so she stopped when she heard this. Tian Xiao shook his head and said, "We won't go to Peng Nianqiu's house, let's go to Tian Lingling's house. The toffee at Xiaopeng's house is all given by Lingling. If you go to her house, you may not be able to eat toffee." Thinking of this, Sia instantly became excited, pulled Tian Xiao and shouted eagerly, "Sister, let's go." Tian Arya said angrily, "Tian Dia, what are you going to do? Tian Lingling's family is not something we can afford." Tian Dia's nickname is Tian Lingling, which has the same pronunciation as Tian Lingling, but not only that, they were born on the same day, but their circumstances are very different. Tian Dia is the eldest in the family, and the next 5 younger sisters, including Liuya who was sent away, the family is impoverished. Tian Lingling is the youngest daughter, and has 5 older brothers. The eldest brother works at home but drives a tractor. The third brother Tian Jianla is a driver of the transportation company, earning a salary as well as extra money. The fourth brother enlisted in the army last year. The fifth brother Tian Jianya and she are twins, and they entered university 2 months after getting the recommendation. Tian Lingling's family is the wealthiest in Tianjia village, even her uncle Captain Bo Tian can't compare. Tian Xiao said calmly, "I'm not looking for trouble. I went to Tian Lingling's house to clarify some things. If you are worried, you can follow." Tian Arya's face changed drastically, and she said, "You suddenly threw yourself into the river, could it be because of Tian Jianya? Don't say it, Dia really likes Tian Jianya secretly. It's just that she knew that she was not worthy of Tian Jianya, so she never announced her love. Now it's Tian Xiao, let alone recognize him. Tian Arya, what good will it do you to ruin my reputation? You always call Sia an idiot. I think you are the most stupid in our family. The reputation of her big sister has been ruined, which younger sister will be better?" She even suspected that Tian Arya's brain was not filled with brains, but tofu dregs. Arya's face was livid with scolding, but she couldn't refute. Tian Xiao didn't care about her anymore, and pulled Sia around her and went out. Their home is located on the farthest edge of the west, and Tian Lingling's family lives in the middle of the village. Wearing cloth shoes and walking on the dirt path with potholes is very painful. It's still sunny, if it rains, we can't go on the road. A middle-aged woman in gray clothes with a blue cloth wrapped around her head walked towards her. Seeing Tian Dia, she deliberately said, "Dia, it is said that death is worse than life. You are still young, so don't be stupid again, this man. In fact, it's the same with a quilt." These words seem to be caring, but they are actually heart-wrenching. Sia's instinct is not a good one, but she doesn't know how to refute it. Tian Xiao knew that the woman was having trouble with Li Hohat, so she wasn't angry, but said lightly, "Since you think it's the same even if you put on a quilt, and the village kidnapper hasn't married a wife yet, you can marry Sister Maisie to him." The woman was so shocked that she forgot to fight back, and when she came to her senses, Tian Xiao had already dragged Sia away. Sia brought Tian Xiao to a big tile-roofed house with blue bricks, and said softly, "Sister, why don't we go back? Tian Lingling's brothers are not easy to mess with, and her mother is also very fierce. I haven't tried to please her." Tian Xiao sighed secretly. No one suspected that Peng Nianqiu was lying. It's also fortunate that the core was replaced by her, otherwise Dia's death would be too unjust. The door to the countryside was open. Tian Xiao stood at the door and saw Tian Chun and his family eating in the main room. She didn't go in, so she called out at the door, "Uncle Chun, Auntie." Although both families have the surname Tian, Tian Dalan is a native of the area. Tian Chun's father fled here during the Great Famine before liberation. The old man was a clever and resourceful man, and soon gained a firm foothold here. Xia pulled Tian Xiao and said softly, "Sister, there is a smell of meat, their family is eating meat." Tian Xiao hadn't heard anything, so she couldn't help but sigh that this girl has a really good nose. Tian Chun's family was very surprised to see that it was Dia and Xia. Their family had nothing to do with Tian Dalan's family. The housewife Ma Dongxiang put down the bowls and chopsticks and came out and asked, "Big girl, what do you want?" Tian Xiao looked expressionless, and said, "Auntie, I have something to ask Tian Lingling." Ma Dongxiang was a little puzzled. Her daughter had nothing to do with Tian Dia, but she couldn't drive people out if she said that. "Come in and talk about it." After finishing speaking, he said politely, "Have you eaten yet? If not, you can eat at my house." Xia couldn't help drooling again when she heard this. I didn't eat." Tian Xiao tugged her hard, and said, "No need for auntie, I have already prepared food at home, and I will go home to eat after I finish talking with Tian Lingling." Tian Chun's house is very large, with 3 main rooms, 2 wing rooms on the left and right rows, and a firewood stove. And what they use is blue bricks, not like the ugly adobe in their own house. Tian Lingling had heard the conversation between the two, stood up and asked with a smile, "Big girl, what do you want from me?" Tian Xiao saw Tian Lingling and understood why Dia and all the girls in the village envied her. "I saw her wearing a light blue floral and ankle dress, and a pair of white bow-knot sandals on her feet. Her skin was fair and supple, her complexion was rosy, and her big watery eyes were very lively. Regardless of her dress or appearance, this girl seemed to be from a different world from the girls in the village." Seeing her staring at him without speaking, Tian Lingling couldn't help reminding, "Big girl, what do you want from me?" Tian Xiao pushed Xia to the front, pointed to the 5-finger marks on her face and said, "The slap marks on my sister's face were slapped by Peng Nianqiu's mother." Tian Janya thought Tian Xiao was ridiculous, so he sneered and said, "Who did you go to when she was beaten, and why did you come to our house?" Ma Dongxiang also felt that Tian Xiao was baffled. It was wrong for Peng Nianqiu's mother to beat the child, but it had nothing to do with her family. "Big girl, if you feel wronged, you can ask your parents to go to Nianqiu's house to seek justice." Tian Xiao said, "Auntie, my sister was beaten because of a piece of white rabbit toffee. It is said that the big white rabbit toffee was given by you to thank Peng Nianqiu for saving Tian Lingling's family." Tian Janya put his chopsticks on the table and cursed, "Tian Dia, you go to the hospital to see a doctor if you are mentally ill. Why do you run wild at our house? Let me tell you, my house is not a place for you to play wild." Tian Xiao didn't even give her a look, he just looked at Tian Lingling and asked, "What about you, do you think so too?" Tian Lingling thought she was weird, but she still said, "Dia, it's wrong for Aunt Xiao Yi to beat Xia, but it has nothing to do with us. A murderer can't kill with a knife." Instead of looking for the murderer, he went to find the murderer. Someone who sells knives. It is said that this girl is smart, and now it seems that she is really true. End of this chapter. The Age of Rebirth, the canon Fodder elder sister brings a sister to counterattack. Chapter 10, Dominion. Chapter 10 Dominion. Tian Janya chased people away very bluntly. "Dia Tian, you also saw that our family has no time to greet you for dinner, so go back quickly. We don't care about today's affairs with you." His attitude is so bad. One is because he thinks that Tian Dia is inexplicably provoking trouble, the other is that he has always hated Tian Dalan's family and thinks that their character is corrupt and shameless. Tian Xiao took a look at Tian Janya, who was wearing a white shirt and army green pants. With fair skin and bright eyes, he looks like a sunny boy. Ma Dongxiang said unceremoniously, "Bigya, the toffee was given by us, but this matter has nothing to do with our family." Tian Xiao looked at Tian Lingling and smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "You also think this matter has nothing to do with you?" Tian Lingling felt that her attitude was very strange, so she couldn't help but frown and said, "Big girl, just say what you have to say. I don't understand how you beat around the bush like this. Sia was a little nervous, she wanted to go home now, so she pulled Tian Xiao's hand hard. Tian Xiao said coldly, I came to you to talk about this, not because I was sick in my head, but because I was the one who saved people yesterday. I almost died to save you. When I woke up, I changed from saving people to I threw myself into the river, and my parents became villains who sold their daughters. I thought you would explain it to the villagers after you returned to the village, but I didn't want you to not only fail to rectify my name, but send the big bags to Peng Nianqiu's house. Bang dang. Sister-in-law Tian was so surprised that the bowl in her hand fell to the ground. The floor of their house was green bricks, and the bowl fell to the ground and broke. Tian Janya didn't believe it at all, and sneered, You said you saved my family, Lingling. Then why didn't you say it yesterday, but today? Tian Chun shouted angrily, Janya, shut up. Because he is the youngest son, he is usually not strictly controlled, but he did not expect to be so ignorant. If someone came to say that she saved the person, there must be evidence, otherwise they came to say what to do with it. There is still a sensible person. Ma Dongxiang asked Tian Lingling, Lingling, who saved you? Tian Lingling shook her head and said, Mom, after I fell into the water yesterday, my mind went blank. Then someone approached me, and then I didn't know anything. As for who saved me, I don't know. Peng Nianqiu said she saved him, so she believed it. Tian Xiao said, I was washing clothes by the river yesterday, and suddenly I heard someone shouting for help. When I saw you struggling in the water, I immediately jumped into the water to save you. You were panicked at the time, and as soon as I approached you, you dragged me desperately. There was no way I could help you. I can only knock you out and drag you to the shore. After pushing you to the shore, I was about to climb up and my legs suddenly cramped, and then I was washed out by the water. Fortunately, I was lucky, and at the critical moment, I dragged the person who was hanging down from the shore a tree branch, and then climbed ashore with great effort. In fact, it was not fate, but Tian Dia was replaced by her after drowning. Her swimming skills are very good. Although she was still in a daze at the time, she realized that she was drowning and saved herself, otherwise she would have become a ghost. Tian Janya still didn't believe it, and asked, Since you saved the person, why didn't you tell me yesterday, but came to my house today to tell me? Tian Xiao felt that the big girl was deceived by this person's appearance. He looks good, but it is an embroidered pillow, which is useless. I woke up after being in a coma for a long time yesterday. After waking up, I also had a bad headache. My father-mother believed Peng Nianqiu's lies and thought that I didn't want to marry Shi Taisheng and threw himself into the river, so she was so frightened that she hurriedly borrowed money from the team and second uncle to go to Shi's family to withdraw from the marriage. Ma Dongxiang was very surprised and said, Big girl, have you divorced? Well, I retired yesterday afternoon. Mrs. Tian became suspicious, and asked, But I heard that Officer Shi came to your house yesterday afternoon, and then left injured. Since you went into the water to save Lingling, why do you want to withdraw? Tian Xiao said bluntly, The man surnamed Shi is old and ugly and has 4 children, the eldest is 2 years younger than me. My family is too poor, so I agreed to let my parents relax. But now the situation is different, I risked my life to save Lingling, I believe that you will not treat me badly, and I don't want to jump into this pit of fire again. She didn't think about asking for anything at first, she just wanted Tian Lingling to explain clearly and return the innocence of Dia and Tian Dalan, but Tian Janya really disgusted her. If you think she is pretending to be a lifesaver and asking for benefits, then go ahead, otherwise you will be too sorry for Dia. This girl even lost her life to save Tian Lingling. Ma Dongxiang frowned when she heard this. Tian Janya snorted coldly and said, You said you saved my sister, and you saved my sister. What's the evidence? Tian Xiao sneered and said, When I approached Tian Lingling, she grabbed my arms and shoulders with both hands. My arms and shoulders were scratched by her, and they are still there. Tian Janya consciously grasped the handle, and sneered, You can tell lies so easily. Lingling can't even hold a dustpan of beans on weekdays. How could she grasp your shoulder and arm with such little strength? Tian Lingling blushed. Hearing this, Tian Xiao asked, I heard that you were always among the best in high school. Don't change the subject. How could such a mindless person be admired by everyone? Tian Xiao said. Tian Lingling was about to die at the time, and she would struggle in the water to survive. During the struggle, her hands wanted to grab anything that could save her life. People will explode with unimaginable power when they are alive and dead. This is also the reason why I knocked her out at that time, otherwise I would be dragged by her and not let go, and then both of them would die. Speaking of this, Tian Xiao paused on purpose, looked at Tian Lingling and said, I split the back of your head, and I was so hard that I didn't want you to faint. So when you wake up, the back of your head will definitely hurt. Tian Lingling nodded and said, yes, I woke up with a terrible head pain. The doctor said that I was beaten. Tian Xiao hummed and said, Peng Nianxiu is 15 years old this year, and she is thin and small. Do you think she has such great strength to save people from the shore? If you still don't believe me, you can ask her about the process of saving people. After finishing speaking, she said maliciously, of course, if you all recognize Peng Nianxiu as a lifesaver, I can only admit that I am unlucky. When I go back, I will also warn my sisters, don't be good people in the future, so as not to put myself in it and pay you back. To hurt the family. Ma Dongxiang immediately said after hearing the words, what stupid things did you say? We will definitely investigate this matter. She actually believed in Tian Xiao, but just thinking about Li Hohat gave her a headache. Tian Chun thought for a while and said, boss daughter-in-law, go to Dadu's house and ask Nianxiu about the process of saving people. Tian Xiao added, sister-in-law Tian, you not only need to ask Peng Nianxiu how she saved her life, but also check her body for any injuries. Mrs. Tian looked at Tian Chun, saw him nodding and hurried out. Tian Chun said, Mother, go get 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks. Dia, Sia, you will have dinner at our house today. There are chili fried meat and eggs fried leeks on this table. Looking at the oily meat, Sia swallowed her saliva. It's a pity that Tian Xiao didn't fulfill her wish, so she politely refused. End of this chapter.